Some of you will check out, tired of the conversation. Some will put up their defenses, and still others will get aggressive as race speaks to each of us differently. As our signifier and our signified vary across the board, and I've tried to simplify for the sake of my mind what I mean by race, and I realized I always see a competition. It's intertwined in the word, a record holder, a champion, leaning into the ribbon. No injuries as he lifts his fist to the confetti rain, while every other runner, panting, crouched over their anonymity on the other side of the finish line, their time sunk into the mud of obscurity as we talk about race. And before I go on, I know I have this pigment covering my knuckles. This skin that contains my soul in its place, skin that scabs and tears and freckles pervade, skin that gets me past those body scans faster, skin that I didn't ask for, skin that invites an interesting slur, oh she's so white, and I'm not complaining either, because I know as soon as we talk about race, I know where I'm placed, and I am ashamed. Because I've read Dr. King's disappointment with the white Protestant moderate. And I know James Baldwin's letter to his nephew with this tired hope set on a few to be led by their convictions and really follow through and act. And I've studied links in huge, sagging, heavy dreams of Harlem, muted, like Gwendolyn Brooks, grayed in grayed rooms, unable to move up or out. And I think about Mike Brown. Maybe not completely innocent, but certainly not deserving death, and Tamir Rice's mother at Christmas, missing her son's final years of playfulness. And I wonder at the missing pages of Sandra Bland's final days as Eric Gardner gasps out his final phrase, and what could I possibly say about race when I see blood in the whirls of my palms caked under my nails on my hands, because they're the same color as George Zimmerman's.
Yes, yes.
The words I say now and the day-to-day are an attempt to bleach, to incinerate my guilt by association. As a beneficiary of a biased system, desperate to save myself from the assumption that I'm just like them who have passed prejudice legislation, built companies and wealth on exploitation and the perpetuation of a rigged system. I'm not like them. I'm supportive, I'm caring. But in my heart, there's a burden of shame too heavy to carry, ashamed of murders I've never committed, in towns that I've never visited. But honestly, I cringed when I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm white. I winced when I thought I am fearfully and wonderfully made by a God who makes no mistakes. And that includes my ethnicity written all over my face. But am I allowed? Is it okay for me to believe that my skin is as beautiful and as lovely as black is, knowing what I know about systematic poverty in this broken economy of Black, Asian, Native American, Latino, Caucasian bodies, when I remember that it's a race and one heritage retains the maturity of the privilege, and caught up in my language, I know one guy's going to get the advantage. It's an either-or dichotomy where both and can't coexist in mutually beneficial unity. So I think in contest instead of community. I'm only expecting disputing, tooth and nailing in this life or death game that we're all playing. There can only be one victor with these semantics. I have to pick my winner. And because I hate the way that history is played, I want to put my money in my mouth on some other race. But let me say, wanting to help a noble cause but compelled by guilt, and proving yourself won't last long. That load will only overwhelm. Only when the truth that skin is God-given sinks in and not a competition. That I was knit together in my mother's womb with precision, and so were you, made carefully and thoughtfully, and only in a race is that truth threatening, where only one can be the best and the rest are left wrestling over the scraps. And how long will that back and forth last? This neck and neck straining to get or stay ahead will end in either more shame or more hating, both violating either yourself or others, neither motivated by peace or love or benevolence. Let's be honest about what flesh is beyond the color of one's skin. In the biblical sense, it's original sin, that wickedness that we're all born with, that bites its own brother and cuts down its kin, where we want someone to go down just so that we could be lifted, where we hoard with clenched fists, where we want what's best just to hold it over somebody else, and there's only one exit, working from the inside out, not the external edging its way in. And it's more than our speech, although that's a good place to start. It's our hearts, now willfully parted from Jesus' kingdom, where the first will be last and the last will be first. It's a journey to a new system, no longer built on earning, but on limitless love for disappointing, vacillating, undeserving members of the human race, yearning for something our words can't communicate, can't encapsulate, but it resonates. There's got to be an end to the race, to the shame and the hate, brothers and sisters. It's only in Jesus' name, and the fact that he died out of love for you and your neighbor, replacing our words and our ways with his truth and his grace. Amen and amen. Let his justice roll down like waters, and let his deep freedom reign.
Wow.